California Real Estate Licensing Exam Prep. Question 1. Before Layla starts showing a small retail building for pay, which relationship is required for a salesperson licensee? Option A, registration with the county recorder only. Option B, employment and supervision by a licensed responsible broker. Option C, a verbal approval from any property owner. Option D, a membership in a local trade association. The correct answer is option B, employment and supervision by a licensed responsible broker. A salesperson must be affiliated with and supervised by a responsible broker before performing licensed acts. County recording does not create brokerage authority. Owner permission alone does not replace the required broker relationship. Trade association membership is voluntary and separate from licensing authority. Question 2. A broker receives deposit funds connected to Nate's offer. Which fiduciary duty is most directly involved? Option A, subordination of a deed of trust. Option B, riparian use of water. Option C, accounting for money and property entrusted to the broker. Option D, constructive eviction of the tenant. The correct answer is option C, accounting for money and property entrusted to the broker. Accounting requires an agent to safeguard and properly report money or property received on behalf of others. Subordination concerns lien priority rather than fiduciary accounting. Riparian rights concern water use connected to land. Constructive eviction is a landlord minus tenant issue. Question 3. How can an agency relationship most commonly be created in a sale of an income property for Anika in Chula Vista? Option A, by ordering a pest inspection report. Option B, by recording a grant deed in the agent's name. Option C, by paying property taxes for the owner. Option D, by express agreement such as a listing or buyer representation agreement. The correct answer is option D, by express agreement such as a listing or buyer representation agreement. Agency is commonly created by agreement between principal and agent, often documented in listing or buyer-broker agreements. Ordering an inspection may be part of a transaction but does not alone create agency. Recording a deed transfers or affects title rather than creating brokerage agency. Paying taxes does not itself create agency authority.
Stressed about your AccuPlacer exam? We can take AccuPlacer exam for you remotely and undetected. We always guarantee a pass and payments only after results. To send us an email, scan the code or tap the link in the description and let's get it done.
Question 4. How should Miles handle buyer qualification standards across applicants for a rental suburban lot? Option A, apply consistent, lawful, and documented criteria to all applicants. Option B, use different standards based on national origin. Option C, skip standards for applicants with children. Option D, ask only some applicants for proof of income based on appearance. The correct answer is option A. Apply consistent, lawful, and documented criteria to all applicants. Consistent lawful screening helps avoid discriminatory treatment and supports fair housing compliance. National origin is a protected characteristic and cannot justify different standards. Families with children cannot be singled out for special burdens or exemptions based on bias. Appearance-based documentation requests create unequal treatment risk. Question 5. A buyer signs an offer on a planned development home, but the seller changes the price before accepting. What is the seller's changed response usually called for Nia in Irvine? Option A, a deed restriction. Option B, a counteroffer. Option C, a quiet title action. Option D, a fully executed contract. The correct answer is option B, a counteroffer. Changing a material term before acceptance generally creates a counteroffer rather than an acceptance. A deed restriction limits property use and is not a negotiation response. A quiet title action is a lawsuit to resolve title disputes. A contract is not fully executed until all required acceptance and delivery elements are satisfied. Question 6. Two unrelated buyers take title with unequal shares and no survivorship language. Which ownership form is most likely for Silas in Modesto? Option A, life estate per otra vie. Option B, joint tenancy. Option C, tenancy in common. Option D, severalté. The correct answer is option C, tenancy in common. Tenancy in common allows unequal shares and does not include automatic survivorship unless otherwise structured. A life estate per autre vie is measured by another person's life. Joint tenancy typically requires survivorship and equal interests. Severalté means ownership by one person or entity. Question 7. How does recording a deed usually protect a buyer of a farm parcel for Clara in Fresno? Option A. It proves the purchase price was fair. Option B. It makes the lender forgive the loan. Option C. It eliminates all easements. Option D. It gives public notice of the buyer's interest and may affect priority. The correct answer is option D. It gives public notice of the buyer's interest and may affect priority. Recording places the document in public records and helps establish notice and priority against later interests. Recording does not prove value or fairness of price. Loan repayment obligations are not forgiven by recording the deed. Existing easements may remain even after recording. Question 8. When title will vest in a buyer's name, what is being determined for Priya in Anaheim? Option A. The form in which ownership will be held. Option B. The seller's moving date only. Option C. The commission split between brokers. Option D. The exact mortgage interest rate. The correct answer is option A. The form in which ownership will be held. Vesting describes how title ownership is held, such as by one person, spouses, or co-minus owners. Moving dates are possession and contract issues. Commission splits are brokerage compensation issues. Interest rate is a loan term.
Are you looking for AccuPlacer exam actual questions? Visit our website pokerexams.com to access AccuPlacer exam study guide with actual questions and answers. Scan the QR code or click the link in the description to get AccuPlacer exam answer key today.
Question 9. Why might a borrower choose an adjustable minus rate mortgage instead of a fixed minus rate mortgage for Ethan in Monterey? Option A. The loan is never secured by real property. Option B. The interest rate can change under the loan terms after an initial period. Option C. The principal balance never has to be repaid. Option D. The borrower receives title insurance for free. The correct answer is option B. The interest rate can change under the loan terms after an initial period. An adjustable minus rate mortgage has rate terms that may change based on the note and index provisions. Real estate loans may still be secured by the property. Principal repayment is still required under the loan contract. Title insurance costs are separate from the interest minus rate structure. Question 10. A broker receives earnest money from Asha. Where should those funds be handled if not delivered to escrow or the owner is authorized? Option A. In the broker's personal checking account. Option B. In a salesperson's vacation account. Option C. In a broker trust account or other legally authorized trust fund arrangement. Option D. In cash until the buyer removes contingencies. The correct answer is option C. In a broker trust account or other legally authorized trust fund arrangement. Trust funds must be safeguarded and handled according to trust account rules or lawful written instructions. Personal accounts create commingling risk. A salesperson's vacation account is not an authorized trust fund location. Holding cash casually can violate accounting and safeguarding duties. Question 11. Why is the transfer disclosure statement important in many residential sales for Darius in Bakersfield? Option A. It records the deed of trust. Option B. It replaces all inspections. Option C. It guarantees the buyer's loan approval. Option D. It provides seller disclosures about the property's condition and features. The correct answer is option D. It provides seller disclosures about the property's condition and features. The transfer disclosure statement is used to disclose information about residential property condition and related items. Recording loan documents is a separate title process. Inspections still help verify condition beyond disclosure statements. Loan approval depends on lender underwriting. Question 12. How does the cost approach estimate value for a newer special-use building for Fatima in Santa Barbara? Option A, a land value plus improvement cost minus depreciation. Option B, seller equity plus escrow fee. Option C, gross rent multiplied by mortgage interest. Option D, buyer income divided by commission. The correct answer is option A, land value plus improvement cost minus depreciation. The cost approach estimates site value and adds the cost of improvements after subtracting depreciation. Seller equity and escrow fees do not measure replacement cost. Rent and interest do not describe the cost approach. Buyer income and commission are not components of this method. Question 13. How is capitalization rate generally calculated for an income property for Hero in Oakland? Option A, gross rent divided by number of bedrooms. Option B, net operating income divided by value or price. Option C, loan points divided by escrow fee. Option D, a property tax multiplied by commission. The correct answer is option B, net operating income divided by value or price. Capitalization rate relates net operating income to property value or price. Bedrooms may affect rent but do not create the cap rate formula. Loan points and escrow fees are financing or settlement charges. Property tax times commission is not an income capitalization formula. Question 14. Why is habitability important in managing residential property for Tanya in Santa Rosa? Option A, it determines the appraiser's license number. Option B, it eliminates all tenant duties. Option C, landlords generally must maintain basic living conditions required by law. Option D, it sets the buyer's loan minus to minus value ratio. The correct answer is option C. Landlords generally must maintain basic living conditions required by law. Residential habitability rules require landlords to maintain essential conditions for occupancy. Appraiser license numbers are unrelated to habitability. Tenants may still have duties under the lease and law. Loan minus to minus value is a financing calculation. Question 15. How does zoning affect Noah's plan to convert a planned development home into a different use? Option A, zoning is the same as title insurance. Option B, zoning guarantees financing approval. Option C, zoning removes all deed restrictions. Option D, zoning controls permitted land uses and development standards. The correct answer is option D. Zoning controls permitted land uses and development standards. Zoning is a public land minus use control that regulates use, density, and development standards. Title insurance protects against covered title defects, not land minus use permission. Lenders make financing decisions separately. Private restrictions may still apply even when zoning allows a use. Question 16. Why can an underground storage tank matter in a real estate transaction for Jean in San Jose? Option A, it may create contamination, cleanup, or disclosure concerns. Option B, it always increases appraised value. Option C, it replaces the need for flood disclosure. Option D, it transfers title to the city. The correct answer is option A. It may create contamination, cleanup, or disclosure concerns. Underground tanks can present environmental risks and potential remediation obligations. A tank does not automatically increase value. Flood and environmental disclosures address different risks. The city does not receive title simply because a tank exists. Question 17. How can a property tax lien affect title transfer for Maya in Stockton? Option A, it automatically creates joint tenancy. Option B, it may need to be paid or otherwise resolved to deliver clear title. Option C, it removes the need for escrow. Option D, it gives the buyer a free appraisal. The correct answer is option B. It may need to be paid or otherwise resolved to deliver clear title. Tax liens can encumber property and are commonly addressed during title and closing. Ownership form is not created by a tax lien. Escrow is often used to resolve liens rather than avoided. Appraisals estimate value and are not created by tax liens. Question 18. Why is promptly presenting offers important to a principal for Kai and Ventura? Option A, it gives escrow authority to reject offers. Option B, it allows the agent to choose the buyer personally. Option C, It supports the agent's duties of loyalty, obedience, and diligent service. Option D. It eliminates the seller's right to counteroffer. The correct answer is option C. It supports the agent's duties of loyalty, obedience, and diligent service. Agents should generally present offers as required so the principal can make informed decisions. Escrow does not decide whether offers are acceptable. The agent does not choose the buyer for personal reasons. A seller may still reject or counter offers. Stressed about your California real estate exam? We can take California real estate exam for you remotely and undetected. We always guarantee a pass and payments only after results. To send us an email, scan the code or tap the link in the description and let's get it done. Question 19. Why can poor record keeping make a trust fund dispute worse for Zara in Riverside? Option A. It increases the square footage of the property. Option B. It automatically raises the loan interest rate. Option C. It converts a lease into a grant deed. Option D. Incomplete records make it difficult to prove receipts, disbursements, and balances. The correct answer is option D. Incomplete records make it difficult to prove receipts, disbursements, and balances. Trust fund disputes depend heavily on accurate records showing what was received and paid. Square footage is a property measurement unrelated to records. Loan rates are set by credit and market terms. A lease does not become a deed because of paperwork quality. Question 20. Why can misrepresentation in a real estate transaction lead to license discipline for Samir in Pasadena? Option A. It violates duties of honesty and lawful practice under real estate regulation. Option B. It is handled only by the county tax assessor. Option C. It automatically becomes a zoning variance. Option D. It is allowed if the buyer signs quickly. The correct answer is option A. It violates duties of honesty and lawful practice under real estate regulation. Misrepresentation undermines consumer protection and may violate DRE law and regulations. Tax assessors do not regulate license discipline. Zoning variances address land use, not deception. A quick signature does not excuse false statements. Question 21. How do HOA assessments affect ownership costs for Yara? Option A. They cancel property taxes. Option B. They are recurring charges used to fund association obligations and services. Option C. They are always voluntary tips. Option D. They pay the buyer's broker commission only. The correct answer is option B. They are recurring charges used to fund association obligations and services. HOA assessments are part of the ongoing cost of owning in a common interest development. Property taxes remain separate. Assessments are not voluntary tips when properly levied. They fund association expenses rather than broker commissions. Question 22. Why must eviction procedures be handled carefully in California rentals for Arjun in Long Beach? Option A. Changing locks is always allowed without notice. Option B. The eviction is handled only by the listing agent. Option C. Landlords generally must follow lawful notice and court processes rather than self-help lockouts. Option D. Tenants lose all rights after one late payment. The correct answer is option C. Landlords generally must follow lawful notice and court processes rather than self-help lockouts. California landlord-tenant law requires proper procedure, and self-help evictions can create liability. Lockouts without lawful process are risky and often improper. Listing agents do not conduct evictions by default. Late payment does not erase all tenant rights immediately. Question 23. Sudden movement of soil by a flood changes a boundary visibly. Which term best fits the sudden event for Bianca in Chula Vista? Option A. Amortization. Option B. Subajanki. Option C. Accretion. Option D. Devulsion. The correct answer is option D. Avulsion. Avulsion is a sudden loss or addition of land by natural forces such as flooding. Amortization is loan repayment over time. Subajanki is an agency relationship. Accretion is gradual buildup. Question 24. Why does ability minus to minus repay matter in residential mortgage lending for Marisol in Sacramento? Option A. Lenders must consider whether the borrower can reasonably repay under applicable rules. Option B. It applies only to commercial leases. Option C. Borrowers may ignore income if the house is attractive. Option D. Ability to repay is a zoning test. The correct answer is option A. Lenders must consider whether the borrower can reasonably repay under applicable rules. Ability to repay standards are intended to reduce unsafe lending by evaluating repayment capacity. Residential mortgage rules are separate from commercial leasing. Property appeal does not replace financial underwriting. Zoning regulates land use, not borrower repayment ability. Question 25. On a closing statement, why is the buyer charged prepaid interest for Jamal and Irvine? Option A. It is a penalty for asking questions. Option B. Interest may be collected from closing through the start of the first regular payment period. Option C. It is the same as title insurance premium. Option D. It pays the seller's moving company. The correct answer is option B. Interest may be collected from closing through the start of the first regular payment period. Prepaid interest covers loan interest for a partial period before regular payment cycles begin. Asking questions does not create a lawful fee. Title insurance premiums cover title risk. Moving expenses are private costs unless separately agreed.